Hello super friends and welcome to DCTV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And in today's video we're going to be discussing the recent rise of Karamel coming back to Supergirl, involving a certain storyline that was teased at the end of episode 13 of season 3. So, without any further ado, let's jump straight into the episode. So, in episode 13 of season 3, otherwise entitled Both Sides Now, we see that Mon-El and Imra have perhaps been having a bit of trouble recently by having a few marital spats and a couple of arguments. We see the conflict and we see the tension between the two characters in this episode, and this all leads to a revelation when John Jones basically takes Mon-El aside, gives him a nice cold beer, and has a little chat with him about his situation with Imra, and it is revealed something very interesting that I didn't expect. This reveal is that Imra and Mon-El actually married to unite two different nations who would otherwise be at war, or actually just be in massive amounts of conflict with each other, similarly to the Kryptonians and the Daxamites. That's what this was. So Mon-El and Imra, they actually married not out of pure love, but to actually unite these two nations. Now, this wasn't like a super arranged marriage like in some particular cultures, but instead this was a situation where Mon-El and Imra, they already knew each other through the Legion of Superheroes, and Mon-El said he already respected her and he liked her, but them getting married was not out of pure love and out of pure dedication. He said those feelings grew over time after they got married. They actually got married for a perhaps moral reason instead of an actual loving reason, and that is why there's a bit of tension between Mon-El and Imra. I have to say, I didn't expect this at all. I thought that the whole storyline that we were told originally, where it's just Mon-El had gone to the future, to the 31st century, he obviously met up with Imra, set up the Legion, and them two just fell in love, because obviously it had been a very long time since him and Kara had departed. I just thought, yeah, that makes sense, it's just a pretty reasonable, perfectly feasible situation for Mon-El to be in, and I just thought that was fine, but the fact that they've actually put this twist on it actually makes it far more interesting for me personally. It is then revealed that Mon-El has been having extreme difficulty coming back to this century to obviously meet up with Kara again, because he still has deep feelings for Kara, and we already knew that. Obviously you could see that as soon as he arrived and as soon as he met up with Kara in episode 7, it was obvious that he still had feelings for her, and being here was extremely difficult because he had to work with her every day and look at her every day, and that obviously brought back all those memories, and he couldn't really do anything because of course he was there with Imra, which led him to keeping his distance. Now, all of this exposition given to this storyline in this one scene is a huge setup. A setup for what, you might ask? Well, that setup is all there for the upcoming thing that's going to happen, which is that it's the separation of Mon-El and Imra. This is pretty obvious in my opinion. I always thought this was going to happen, but I wasn't quite sure how, but now we actually have this reason and this setup given. I feel it's going to happen rather soon, where Imra and Mon-El are going to split. This would make way for the return of the Karamel relationship, which personally I don't have a problem with. I think the Karamel relationship is probably one of the better ones on the DC TV shows. I kind of think it's actually quite well worked out for them, because obviously Melissa Benoist and Chris Wood are a couple in real life, which means they have great on-screen chemistry, which they do. The only thing is, I just don't like the fan base, but as far as the relationship goes itself on screen, I'm a fan, I like it, so if it's going to come back, I don't particularly have a problem with it. I think it's fine. This also perfectly lines up with my theory that the Legion of Superheroes are going to leave around halfway through this season. I just think this is going to happen because the Legion, I don't know how much longer they can stay on the show, especially when they do have plans to leave. Even though, obviously, another revelation in the episode is that they actually had another mission other than actually just being crash landed there. But either way, there is something going on here that I feel could just leave the Legion out of the show entirely. That's relative, because even though the Legion is going to leave, I think Mon-El is going to stay. I feel that Mon-El is obviously a very popular character on Supergirl, a lot of people like him, he is obviously a series regular, I know I certainly like him, and I don't think he will leave anytime soon personally. I have heard some people say that they think he's going to leave at the end of this season. I personally don't think that's true. I feel he is too strong of a character now, and I feel he's too in the main spotlight now, and obviously because him and Melissa Benoist are together, I feel it just won't happen. And when Mon-El is obviously getting his Valor suit this season, I just don't think the CW would be up for spending that much money on creating this brand new suit if he was only going to be around for a few more episodes. I feel that if he is becoming Valor and he's getting that new suit, that means he's going to stick around for quite some time. Like I said, I think I've heard some people say he's not going to stick around till the end of the season, but I feel he will be here for a long time to come, just because that suit and that role that he's taking up is far too big for, you know, a mini episode arc. So when will all of this come together? Well, I feel at first we're going to have this particular Legion storyline about why Imra and Brainiac 5 actually came to the 21st century, because obviously you find out that it was all kind of a lie and a cover-up from Mon-El, and I feel it is going to be something to do with Imra's sister. That is the rumour. If that is true, I reckon we'll have that storyline first, and then that will lead to the Legion leaving and Mon-El staying, and that then leads to the breakup of Imra and Mon-El. So my prediction is that by the end of the season we will have Kara and Mon-El back together again, because it's not like it's going to take a long time for this to settle. As soon as Imra leaves, Mon-El is going to be back with Kara, because he still has feelings for her, he still loves her, you can see that clearly, and she of course hasn't gotten over him yet. So it's one of those natural things that's just going to happen as soon as Imra leaves, which, like I say, I think will happen relatively soon. And as soon as pretty much as Mon-El becomes Valor, we will have kind of a couple crime fighting team. Now, my only fear with that is that Mon-El has been extremely weak this season, and what I mean by that is he has just not been very strong at fighting. We've seen him as in the Legion of Superheroes, we've seen him fighting alongside Kara, especially in this episode. He doesn't do anything, he just stands around and gets hit, which is just not right for this character, who is actually pretty strong in reality. So why he's just being stood around and just getting knocked all over the place doesn't make sense for this character. So seeing that Mon-El is going to become Valor and going to become an actual main superhero on the show, it seems like you have to make sure he is powerful again and actually up to speed and actually an equal to Kara, which he technically is. You know, in terms of hand-to-hand combat and in terms of strength, he should be equal to Kara. I mean, yeah, he can't fly and he doesn't have the laser eyes and the, you know, the freeze breath and all that, but in terms of his overall strength, he should be toe-to-toe with Kara, and if he's going to be Valor, that's what he needs to be a valuable hero. So what do you guys think about this Legion of Superheroes story, Mon-El becoming Valor, and this Karamel relationship apparently, seemingly coming back very, very soon? Like I said, I think it's very, very possible. I think it's extremely likely. For me personally, I've been waiting for this to happen, where Karamel is going to come back onto the show. I just didn't know how they were going to do it, because I saw no opening. There was no kind of holes to kind of get through it, to get through the marriage situation. But now we have this setup. I feel it's inevitable at this point. So thank you guys for watching this episode of DCTV Talk. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, it'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DCTV, and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for all of your latest videos on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And with all that said, I hope to see you guys again in my next video.